My name's Chris, I'm from the Camp Leaders team, and today we've been going through Reddit answering your top questions about camp. So question 1 is titled Too Old to Work at Camp. Hi guys, I just wanted to ask your opinions on how old is too old to work at a summer camp as a counsellor. I am 20 years old this year, finishing my 3rd year in university, but since a lot of my friends from camp have understandably moved on to taking more profitable summer jobs and stopped coming to camp every summer, and most of the staff is now a solid 2 to 4 years younger than me, I'm starting to feel like an adult who just can't move on from being a teenager. So what are your opinions? Do I need to suck it up and stop going to camp, or should I go with what I am passionate about and ignore the haters? Ignore the haters straight away. There's no age limit on going to camp. My mentality is always life experience is a lot more valuable than money. And you want to be, sitting in a retirement home when you're 60 with, a head full of memories from your time in your 20s when you went traveling, went to camp, all the great memories that you have from it. I think that's a lot more valuable than getting the first job that you can and, going into that Monday to Friday 9 to 5 grind. Going and working abroad, going and working in America at camp is so much more valuable. So question 2, what is it like to sleep in a cabin with 10 kids? I'm currently interested in becoming a summer camp counsellor. I was homeschooled and have never been to a sleepaway camp as a camper. I have been to day camps. The job looks like a good fit for me, but I have one thing I'm concerned about. What is it like to sleep in a cabin with 10 kids? Is it noisy, smelly, comfortable? Is it hard to get a good sleep while in a cabin with kids? That's a really good question, and it's a question that we do get quite a lot because it can sound like a bit of a weird thing when you're going to be bunked with the kids, but it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of different kind of accommodation situations that you might be in. Some people might be, bunked in the same room as the kids. Some people may have like a separate room in the bunk where it's just the counsellors who sleep in there. Some people might just have a staff-only bunk. There's different, ways of doing it. But the great thing about it that I find is part of the fun. You get like a little family for the summer who become your bunk. If you're an activity specialist, when they do come down to your activity, it's almost like your little family's kind of visiting for the period, and it's a really cool thing just to kind of catch up with them. And you get a really close relationship with those kids because you get to see them grow throughout the summer. It's a really rewarding experience as well. And yeah, obviously being in a bunk with kids, it can be a little bit smelly, a little bit messy at times, but you'll have bunk chores throughout the summer, which is where it's your responsibility to make sure that the kids are, staying tidy, keeping the bunk comfortable. With the sleeping thing, you're all going to be knackered by the end of the day anyway, so as soon as your head hits the pillow, it's lights out and you're all good to go at that point. Question 3, trying to figure out what fun gimmick I can do as a counsellor this summer. Last summer, I was a counsellor and had a fun thing where I wore a helicopter hat everywhere. It gave me a sort of brand and all the kids loved it. I don't want to do that again, but I can't think of other ideas for gimmicks. Does anyone have ideas? That's a really cool question. And the great thing about camp as well is that there's no conformity. If you want to do something kind of weird and wacky, it's the best place to do it. With those kind of like, sort of physical kind of wacky things, we had a guy at camp I remember who used to wear a different pair of socks every single day, and all the kids would be like, what socks is he going to wear today, which is kind of cool. You could do absolutely anything. If you wanted to wear different kinds of sunglasses every day, you can do that as well. The best thing about those kind of gimmicks throughout camp is the best ones are the ones that just form naturally, and just even if it's just a part of your personality, if you talk in different accents to the kids, if you sing a song in the morning, whatever it is, as long as it's natural, then it's going to stick. Question 4, how to stay chill / not lose patience with the kids. Any advice, tips, tricks on how to not lose patience with the kids and get grumpy towards them? From morning to lunchtime, I feel very positive and enthusiastic, but by the end of the day, I get super grumpy and the kids can obviously sense it. How do I maintain a positive, fun-loving vibe throughout the day? Thanks in advance. So yeah, that is a really good question, and it's definitely worth mentioning that you will hit a bit of a brick wall at some point during the summer. There will be days where you're dehydrated, maybe you haven't eaten enough, you didn't get a good night's sleep last night, and maybe the kids are just getting on your nerves because they are kids at the end of the day, and it is to be expected, and that's absolutely fine as well. My top tip with it is just make sure you're taking care of yourself. So drinking lots of water, because it's hot, the summers are hot in America, you're going to get dehydrated at some point. So just making sure that you're keeping up to date with your fluids and everything. Make sure you're eating well, make sure you're just keeping yourself fueled throughout the summer. And just make sure you're getting a load of sleep as well. If there's a night where you feel like you do need to have a bit of a catch up with your sleep, have an early night. You don't have to be going off camp every single night off that you have. Even for your periods off, if you do have a period off from the day, just make the most of it, even if it's just going to the staff lounge and calling home, having a bit of a catch up with family, maybe going to the bunk and having a nap, or maybe just hanging out in the staff lounge watching some telly. Just make sure that you use that time to take care of yourself. Question 5, icebreaker games that will actually be fun. I'm working 6 weeks of camp this year, and while some kids will be coming to camp knowing their friends will be there too, some kids aren't going to know anyone. Particularly for week 1, I need icebreaker games that aren't, hi, my name is X, and my favourite colour is red, and so on. Any fun ideas to warm everyone up and get to know each other? Yeah, that's a really good point as well, that some of the kids will be their first summer at camp, so it's definitely worth trying to get them involved with the culture and the activities and get them to make friends. I was a life lifeguard at camp, and one kind of cool thing that we did is when the kids would be doing their swim test, which was at the start of the summer. With the younger kids, when they would tread in water, they'd normally be treading water for about a minute or so. We'd always get them to shout out their name, get them to shout out maybe their favourite superhero, and maybe their favourite thing that they wanted to do at camp that summer. You'd normally find that would start a conversation between the kids, and they would start getting to know each other from that point, really. But a lot of the time, the camp will actually put on events for those kids to try and make sure that they are making friends as well. We had a really cool thing at our camp called Camp Siblings, which is where one of the younger kids would basically be paired up with an older kid, and that would be their camp brother or sister for the whole summer as well. So whenever they saw them on camp, they'd always say hey and everything like that. And it was a cool way of just making sure that they're making friends outside of their division as well and getting involved with the traditions at camp. Final question, does working as a summer camp counsellor feel like heaven on earth, or is it more of a challenging job that is really rewarding? It's both, I would say. My main memories from camp are, the scenery, and it was a beautiful place to work. There'd always be, stargazing. The sunsets on camp were the best I've ever seen. Just the events on camp, you'll never find anything like that else in the world, which is great as well. Working with young people, working with kids, it can be a really rewarding experience as well. So it's great just being part of that. But at the same time, it can be quite a challenging job. It's long days, you're gonna be running around in the heat all day. The kids have always got super high energy, which is hard to match sometimes. So it can be really challenging, but it is the most rewarding job I've ever had. So yeah, that's it from our Reddit questions today. Hopefully those answered a few of your questions and hopefully got you a bit excited about camp as well. My main suggestion to answering any questions you have is to go to camp and have an amazing time. Every camp is different, every experience is different, so that's the best way of learning about it, really. If you do have any questions that have been left unanswered, feel free to leave a comment on this video and we'll try and get back to you as soon as possible.
If you like this video and you want to see more camp and travel content, make sure you like this video and hit subscribe.